Welcome to Becoming Limitless. This is the podcast for entrepreneurs who want to optimize their brain and their body with biohacking. I'm going to teach you how to eliminate brain fog and upgrade your health so you can have more productivity, energy, and growth in your business. I'm your host, Tanessa Shears. Let's jump in. Welcome back to the Becoming Limitless podcast. We're having a conversation today around weight loss. Now, this is something that we don't talk about very often on the podcast because I love to talk about health optimization. Everything from our brains being clearer to being more focused to having a body that is full of energy and health. But I have found that after I work with clients for a certain amount of time and we master all the basics, the conversation that usually comes up next is, now that I'm full of energy, I just really want to fit into this pair of jeans that I love, or I just really want to slim down a little bit. I want to knock off 10 pounds or 20 pounds. So what I wanted to do today was pivot the conversation. Now, you might not know this, but I actually started my business as a personal trainer in 2014. I was seeing, I had 33 clients a week at one point. Like, I was busy. So I have seen every possible scenario when it comes to weight loss and what needs to go in with it. In fact, I ended up being so proficient at it that I actually moved online into weight loss coaching in 2017 and did that for 2 full years before moving towards working with entrepreneurs and brain optimization and health optimization and all of that. So I thought it would be good to take a nice detour today and talk a little bit about what it takes to get lean, lose unwanted body fat, and fit back into, those pieces of clothes that you always feel good in. And, I have put these strategies in play myself. And the first time through was in 2020 when I had my daughter. Naturally, I wanted to lose some of that postpartum weight, and I was actually able to lose all of it and get back to my pre-baby weight. Now, this isn't to say that I fit back into all my pre-baby clothes because my hips got wider and they never quite went back. However, I was able to get back into amazing shape. And if you have been listening to the last couple episodes, you'll know that I'm 10 weeks postpartum tomorrow. So I'm again on this journey of finding my strongest and best shape. And yep, that's going to mean losing a little bit of body fat. And I have taken the strategy that I used last time, tweaked it a little bit, and I'm using it this time. And I am just finding that the results are so much better this time. And I'm going to be talking all about that actually on next week's podcast episode because I'm doing another episode of The Return. But let's talk about it. What is the biggest factor, or let's call it the biggest domino that I think needs to be knocked out of the way when you are approaching getting lean and losing any unwanted body fat? So there are 4 kind of pillars I like to look at when it comes to getting lean and losing unwanted body fat. Number 1 is exercise. Number 2 is what we're eating. Number 3 is the stress, mental, physical, chemical, all of that on our body. And of course, our sleep. Now, sleep is the one that most people don't think contributes to weight loss or the shape of our body the way it does. But sleep is actually the thing that I would master first. The reason for that is if you are not getting enough high quality sleep, everything you do with your food, your exercise, and your stress management will be much less effective, and it will be like fighting an uphill battle. So when we're trying to identify why sleep is so important in this conversation, we have to really look at what the causes of weight gain over time are. So the 3 primary causes are inflammation that goes unchecked in the body. We talk a lot about inflammation. It can come from food, it can come from lack of sleep, it can come from over-exercising. Number 2 is your glycemic variability. This just basically means what your blood sugar profile looks like on a day-to-day. Is it pretty stable, and are you eating a lot of healthy whole foods, or are you eating a lot of processed foods and you're getting, massive swings in blood sugar when you eat, all these pastries and pastas and breads, and then a massive drop? Like, that glycemic variability will ultimately lead to weight gain. Now, the third one is hormone disruption. We're going to be talking about all of these and how sleep affects them so you can see why sleep is so important. Now, before we get into the 5 reasons why sleep is impacting your ability to stay lean or get lean, it's important to understand what short sleep duration means, because that's a big one here. So the CDC has actually defined it as getting less than 7 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period. This can have significant impacts on your health. I have conversations with people on my Instagram page and with clients all of the time who struggle with only getting 5 5 or 6.5 hours of sleep per night. So this is critical that you at least get to 7 hours of a sleep. So remember, sleep opportunity and time of sleep are different, right? So like just because you spend 7 hours in bed per night does not mean you get 7 hours of sleep. We have to account for the awake time when you fall asleep, toss and turn, maybe you wake up in the middle of the night and you wake up. And the average entrepreneur I work with does spend about an hour awake every single night. So if you were only giving yourself 7 hours of opportunity to sleep, you're probably only getting 6. So at the base of this conversation, we definitely need to be getting at least 7 hours per night of time asleep and have that be high quality sleep. If you know that you are currently struggling with that and everything you have tried is not working and you feel really tired when you wake up and your energy's all over the place and you feel like a zombie and you have brain fog and you're just not as energized and you find that you're irritable during the day and it's affecting your ability to make healthy choices and do your workouts, I really want you to reach out to me on Instagram. My account is at Tanessa Shears, and I want you to start a conversation with me and let me know that you need help. I work with clients one-on-one to help them create a very individualized, data-driven program to help them optimize their sleep and their health so that they can have more productivity and energy. So if you are one of those people that know that you really want better sleep, you want to feel better during your day, I would encourage you, please reach out to me on Instagram. Let's start a conversation. Let me share with you kind of what my program looks like and how I can help, or you can just book a call at TanessaShears.com/call if you want to jump on a consultation, and I will take you through exactly what I would do with you to get you from where you are now to energized, well-rested, and focused in your business. All right, let's jump into the 5 reasons on how sleep impacts our body. So number 1 is that not getting enough sleep impacts how our body uses insulin. So insulin is a hormone that actually takes our blood sugar and puts it in either the liver, the muscles, or the fat cells so that we can bring our blood sugar back down to normal levels after a meal. So insulin is a hormone. It's released by the pancreas, right? So that's its job. Now, we need insulin to work effectively in order to keep our blood sugar stable, because if our blood sugar is all over the place, we are going to have a lot of inflammation, we're going to have a lot of brain fog, we are going to have energy crashes all over the place, and we are going to likely experience weight gain. So sleep deprivation reduces our insulin sensitivity. So when we think about insulin doing its job and taking blood sugar and putting it in the cells, that if our cells are normal and healthy, it basically means our cells are sensitive to insulin, meaning they allow the blood sugar to be put into the cell. But when we do not get enough sleep, so less than that 7 hours a night or less than your body needs to be optimal, your cells don't respond to insulin the same way. So what your body needs to do is produce even more insulin to stabilize all of those blood glucose levels. And what happens is when insulin is high over a long period of time, your cells stop responding to it. And this is actually the foundation of how diabetes happens, but it is also the foundation of weight gain. So if you find that you struggle to lose weight, you might be the type of person where your body is no longer sensitive to insulin, right? So sleep is one of those things that impacts insulin. And it is fascinating. Studies have actually shown that even one night of getting lousy sleep, so getting 5 hours, 6 hours, or maybe you even get like 7.5 or 8 hours, but it's interrupted, you're up all night, your body uses insulin 20 to 40% less effectively, meaning it's 20 to 40% less effective. This means that the day following a really poor sleep, your blood sugar levels are going to be higher. This means energy roller coaster. This means brain fog. This means glucose is stored as fat. So there are a couple ways if you're actually interested in testing glucose levels. I would definitely recommend talking to a doctor about this, but you can get just a finger prick test where you can test what your blood sugar levels are. And fascinating thing is if you're going to be testing them in the morning when you wake up from a really good night of sleep versus either a disrupted or a short night of sleep, you'll find that your blood sugar levels are much higher on the mornings you wake up after a poor sleep. The other thing you can do is get a continuous glucose monitor. So these are a type of monitor monitor that actually just go on the back of your arm, and they connect to an app on your phone, kind of like how, your smartwatches or your Fitbits connect to an app on your phone. And it gives you constant blood sugar readings, and it's so cool. I've seen a lot of research and heard people talk about how they can see everything from, hormone fluctuations during their monthly menstrual cycle to what they eat to sleep, all how it affects blood sugar. And I know for a fact that that is something that I am going to be experimenting with and investigating when my cycle gets back to normal, when I'm no longer in this postpartum period. But there's just so much to learn, and so much of our health and well-being and clarity really do have to do with our blood sugar. So when we are not sleeping, or we tell ourselves, 6 hours is enough, your body still feels the effect of that. Your insulin is 20 to 40% less effective on those nights. So basically, if you are trying to get lean, you are fighting an uphill battle, because part of getting lean is keeping your blood sugar stable. So reason number 2 is if you do not get enough sleep, you're going to be tired. Now, why does this matter? Because you are much more likely to grab an extra cup of coffee or load up on some tea if you are not getting enough sleep, right? Because we want that boost in energy to make up for the fact that we're feeling tired during the day. But the problem is, if you're using caffeine as a pick-me-up, it affects your sleep the following night. I did an entire episode on the podcast about biohacking caffeine and everything like that. But long story short, caffeine blocks a receptor in the brain which tells you that you're tired, which is great, right? That's what we want. But the problem is it also blocks you from feeling tired when you want to go to sleep that night. So what it does is it affects your ability to fall asleep. So maybe you don't get as much quality sleep the next night, or maybe you take longer to fall asleep. So if you're using more caffeine than you would use on a normal day to overcome a bad sleep, you're likely going to be affecting the following night's sleep and kind of creating this cycle that you get stuck in. When you're tired, your brain is also looking for quick energy because it is feeling foggy. So what this means is you start looking around, you're like, oh yeah, where's all the processed carbohydrates? Can I grab a granola bar here? Can I grab some bread? Is there a pasta? Like your brain starts looking for those carbohydrate, usually processed sources, so that you can have that quick boost of energy, right? Your brain and your body are looking for the foods that will give you that blood sugar boost and the energy boost. But the problem with that is what goes up comes down. So your energy is going to come down with it. And when you go to eat those more carbohydrate-based foods, your blood sugar goes up. But as we discussed in the last point, your insulin is not working to take the blood sugar out of the blood and put it in cells. So you are left with high blood sugar. And what this does is it pushes up your body's set point. Now, your set point is the body's happy weight. So let's say you normally maintained 145 pounds and your body was good with that. Normally, if you eat a little bit more, your body will bring you down 145. If you try to lose weight, it'll bring you back up to 145. Like that's how our body works. It likes to protect where we are, right? Now, the thing is if you constantly have elevated glucose levels and elevated insulin levels, it actually keeps bumping that set point up. So if your set point used to be 145, it gets bumped up to 150, 155. And that's why it gets harder and harder to lose weight every time. So one of the things that we can do to begin reversing that is eat foods that are whole food in nature and less processed to stabilize our blood sugar to help bring that set point back down. So in addition to eating like processed carby foods all day, when we're tired, you're also less likely to do your workouts. I mean, when you wake up feeling really groggy, you're not likely to do them in the morning. If you have to go through a whole day, you get to the end of the day, you pretty much just are like, oh, I'm so tired today. I promise I will do it tomorrow. So you really need to think about how waking up tired affects your ability to burn calories and also to monitor how many calories you're taking in, right? And the other interesting thing is when you don't get enough sleep, or specifically quality sleep, when we're talking about dream sleep, that affects your impulsivity. So during REM sleep, that's that dream sleep that happens in those earlier morning hours, our brain gets what I kind of like to think of as emotional therapy. And when we don't get enough of that dream sleep because our sleep is too short or if it's disrupted, we are much more likely to make impulsive decisions and, rash emotional things. So this means like getting frustrated, turning to food to deal with boredom or stress or anger or frustration. And we end up turning to those foods that are not helping us move towards our goals. Reason number 3 of why we need a lot of sleep is because it regulates our hunger hormones. So when we're getting short, poor quality sleep, It affects a couple hormones. Specifically, we're going to talk about a couple of them here. One of them is called leptin. Now, leptin's purpose in the body is to signal that you are full and to stop eating. But when you don't get enough sleep, it reduces the level of leptin in your body, so there is less leptin telling you to stop eating. And what this can lead to is overeating and weight gain. Another hormone that's affected by not getting enough sleep is a hormone called ghrelin. Now, ghrelin actually prompts you to feel hungry so that you actually eat more food. Now, when you don't get enough sleep, your body increases the production of ghrelin. So you feel hungry all the time, right? So you start eating more, specifically more carbohydrates, which raises your blood sugar level, right? When you have high ghrelin, which tells you eat more, and not enough leptin, which tells you to stop eating, so your body's basically like, don't worry, just keep eating. You have increased cravings and increased hunger. Now, why this is a problem is if you are, deciding to eat healthier and you want to eat more whole foods, sticking to those decisions is going to be harder when you are working against hormones that are basically saying eat everything in sight. That is why I always love to say you need to master your sleep first before you worry about what your diet is, because it is going to make it so much harder to do what you said you were going to do when you didn't get enough sleep. And the last hormone in the hormone conversation that we're going to talk about today is cortisol, right? So cortisol is that hormone that we all know as associated with stress, like when our body is in fight or flight. So when we're not well rested, cortisol actually increases, and that affects insulin. It can reduce insulin secretion. That's that hormone that helps get blood sugar into the cells, and it promotes insulin resistance, meaning insulin just doesn't work as well. So what happens is you have chronically higher blood sugar levels, and this goes back. We're having that same conversation that we're having more inflammation and weight gain from blood sugar levels that are constantly high. So all of these things play so closely together, meaning the sleep affects insulin and it affects cortisol. It affects all of these hormones, which basically make it nearly impossible to lose weight and keep it off in a healthy, sustainable way when you are walking around tired all the time. And I should note that it's not just about feeling tired that's going to cause all of these things, but it is how your body responds to not getting enough sleep. Even if you feel fine, even if you're one of those people who do tell yourselves, like, I feel fine, like 6 hours is enough for me, I feel great. You might feel good or great, but your body still responds to that lack of sleep. The last and final reason why we need to get really good sleep when we come to the weight loss conversation is because sleep lowers inflammation, right? And research does show that when we don't get enough sleep, inflammation levels rise in the body. So this can happen, like I said, with only one night of sleep deprivation. So if you string together 2 or 3 nights on a weekend, or maybe you are just living in a permanent case of only getting 6 hours of sleep per night, your body will feel the effects of this and will be suffering from chronically high inflammation. So we've just wrapped up the 5 reasons why we need to sleep, right? I mean, it impacts insulin, which affects blood sugar. We're more tired, so we're more likely to skip our workouts and, not get that emotional restoration from dream sleep at night. Our hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, are all over the place. Our body is stressed out and in fight or flight, and inflammation is higher. And all of these are going to lead to a standstill in your efforts to drop unwanted body fat. Now, sleep is one of the things that I placed primary first and foremost in my journey postpartum. I made sure that even if it meant working a little bit less, even if that meant not getting my workout that day, I would prioritize getting a minimum of 7.5 hours of sleep each night so that my body could be in a healthy place and would happily let go of the extra weight. So if you have been struggling to lose the weight, or it doesn't feel like it's coming off, and you're doing all the right things and you're eating healthy and you're exercising, check your sleep. Now, if you don't have a Fitbit or an Oura Ring or some way of measuring it, I highly encourage you to do that, because without that, you can't actually see what's going on in your sleep, right? Your brain doesn't give that printout to tell you you got enough dream sleep, you got enough deep sleep, you slept long enough. You're always just guessing at it, right? It would be like walking into the grocery store or into Costco or wherever with a credit card and swiping it, but having no idea if you had enough cash in the bank, like you didn't have online banking to check. That's what a Fitbit is to your brain. And I honestly think, and I've said this before, it is one of the simplest and best investments you can make in your health of your brain and your body as an entrepreneur. You can get Fitbit Luxe for as cheap as like $100. They go on sale on Amazon. So keep your eye out for things like that and make that investment in your health, because one of the biggest reasons that I've seen people not getting results when it comes to their health, their fitness, and their brain performance is because they do not have a way of tracking their results and a measurable plan in place. So I hope that has been a super helpful episode. We did dive a little bit more into the science today than usual, but I really wanted you to understand why sleeping needs to be at the top of your daily habit checklist. Getting at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, high quality, 15 to 20% of your night in deep sleep, 20 to 25% of your night dreaming, having uninterrupted sleep to help your body be in a low inflammation, stable blood sugar place so that it can let go of the body weight. I hope this has been super helpful. Now, what I want you to do is, if you are on Instagram, I want you to screenshot right now that you're listening to this episode, and I want you to post it on your Instagram story and tag me in it with your favorite takeaway. I always love celebrating with you and having conversations. So if you want to reach out on Instagram, either to show me that you're listening to the show, tell me what you loved about the episode, or even just to say hi, I would love that. It is never an inconvenience. Don't feel shy about reaching out. I love hearing from you. So take a moment today to just come and say hi or tag me on Instagram in whatever you're working on with your health optimization. And I cannot wait to talk to you this week in my DMs. Have a fantastic week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Hey, if you're hearing me right now, you might be an entrepreneur who feels like this.
Every single thing I had was going into my businesses, and there was no room left for me. And that means I wasn't eating right. My stress levels were just off the charts.
And I was getting these headaches, and I just felt like my health was not where it could be, where it should be.
Every day I woke up really tired, and actually all day long I was tired and I couldn't understand why. And this was really in the way of my productivity.
I gained 20 pounds in 1 year, and that's mostly because of work stress. I've never seemed to have the control over my own health.
This podcast will help you with all of that. I'm sharing everything I know and everything I'm learning about how to get healthy, optimize your focus, and eliminate brain fog for faster business growth. But if you want someone to take all of these strategies, create a simple plan, and help you bring it to life with weekly coaching, I'd love to work with you in my Becoming Limitless program. This is the high-touch intensive program that I have created to coach entrepreneurs like you to get back on track with their health, get really good sleep, and start waking up feeling well-rested.
The biggest impact was really around overall well-being and sleep. So I started tracking my sleep, and it was very data-driven what we did. And I saw measurable progress and improvement week to week, month to month. Now I prioritize sleep. I have my whole family on a better sleep schedule.
You'll get my expert eyes on what you eat and help you develop a simple plan that sticks.
Well, she helped me really figure out what works for me nutrition-wise. It's not just like some cookie cutter plan. It's let's figure out what works best for your body and just optimize everything so I can show up at my best for my family, for my business, and just feel good.
And of course, have you showing up to your business with clear, focused thinking so you can scale your business faster.
Both my companies have grown over the last 2 years.
I'm waking up more energized, and I'm able to be more productive in my business.
You're going to learn how to optimize your brain and your body using a combination of a wearable technology, accountability, science-based biohacks, and weekly personalized coaching. I'm not only going to share what to do, but I'm going to teach you how to be consistent and develop the self-discipline that keeps this going for the rest of your life.
Coaching is where the magic really happens, because without coaching, you'll end up right where you started, because those blocks and those underlying patterns that got you here are still there. You have to really rewire the way you think, and that's what Tanessa helps you do. And it's good to have somebody who's got your back, who will hold you accountable and who will help you work through this process together.
I help you become a human being instead of just a human doing. You get to have your health and a successful business too. It doesn't have to be a choice.
So she really taught me a lot about how to balance being an entrepreneur and a business owner, and also not sacrifice my health.
Yep, you can use the gold mine of information in these free episodes of the Becoming Limitless podcast to help you take control of your health, and you will feel more vibrant. But if you want, you can outsource your health to me and put your brain power back on growing your business. If you're ready to commit to upgrading your health and start feeling more energized within the next couple of months, click the link in the show notes and book in a consultation call with me.
My life today is not even recognizable with the life I had a year ago. And that's because of everything that Tanessa has put into the program. So if you're on the fence, get off the fence. Your future self will thank you for it.
Highly suggest working with Tanessa.
I would highly suggest doing a consultation call with her, doing her program, seeing what she's about, and seeing if she's a good fit for you, because she is definitely committed to her clients and she definitely knows what she's talking about.
So go work with Tanessa. She's really amazing and she's going to help you get your energy back.
Hit the link in the show notes and book in to talk with me about your health, and I'll see you on our first call.